And all right, we are live, we are recording, and you're in the right spot for today's webinar. 8 tips to increase your revenue and attract customers in 2021. So really excited about this topic, really excited about sharing all this content, all this knowledge, and all these different ways to make sure that you, as a local business, whether that's a bar, you're a restaurant, you're a bowling center, we really want to make sure that you know ways to increase your revenue and track those customers on social media and online. So today, it's not just a self-hosted webinar with GoDaddy. Today, I am joined by the amazing, knowledgeable, lovely, talented Azure Collier. And I'm so excited to be hosting a webinar with her today. It's going to be some great ways to make sure that you can really buckle down and get excited about the new year. But more importantly, different ways to make sure that you're attracting those new customers as well. Now, really quick, at GoDaddy Social, if you're not familiar with us or this is your first webinar with us, hey, welcome. Hope you're all having a great Tuesday. We actually help manage local businesses' online presence, but my favorite thing about our company and what we do is we actually help local business owners just like yourselves, make sure you have that same great customer service level online, just like you would in person. But one of my favorite things about my role, I've been actually hosting webinars and educating local business owners for about 6 or 7 years now. And one of my favorite things is actually hosting these webinars, getting to come together with amazing people like Azure, getting to come up with great content just like this in this webinar you're about to listen to, but more importantly, get to hear back from all of you. So throughout this webinar, if you have questions, please let us know. We have a Q&A section right there. I think we already had a couple of questions logged in there, but feel free to log those questions in. And whatever time we have left at the end of the webinar, we'll go through those as well. Now, I also have my colleague, also a webinar manager as well in the room, Kelly Deball. She's going to be also dropping links into the chat box as well. So on top of what we're talking about today, she's been dropping in some great supplemental educational materials into that chat box as well for you. So like I said, I'm part of our webinar team. I get to host these amazing webinars, get to hang out with all of you for the next 45 minutes to an hour. But today, what I'm really excited about is our agenda and what we're going to actually be talking about in this webinar today. So Azure's going to be actually kicking us off, and she's going to introduce herself, talk about her role, more importantly, talk about what Tripleseat does for local businesses and businesses right now and how they're helping them. But we're going to be going through how to get found where diners are looking, your consumers, where are they going? You want to make sure that you're getting found. You're not just being seen, but customers are actually choosing you. Next, we're going to talk about how to make it simple and easy. After that, we're going to go over how to save time on social media. Next, we're going to go over how to tell your story with visual content. After that, we're going to go over how to capitalize with Instagram stories to leverage your promotions. And then we're going to go over how to broaden your offerings, marketing campaigns. We're next going to go over how to work with micro influencers to benefit your business. Now, in this one, we're going to also talk about how to work with your customer advocates. I know as a local business owner, you're like, we can't work with influencers sometimes, but you have those influencers right there. They're your loyal customers that have been coming to your business day in and day out. So you want to make sure you're working with them as well. They're going to tell your story the best. More importantly, they're going to promote your business the best. And last but not least, we're going to go through how to prove and improve your metrics and your ROI. A little bit of a nerdy section. We're not going to really go over any math in this section. I'm not the best at math, I'm not going to lie, but we definitely want to make sure that you're here to learn about your insights. You're here to learn how to make it simple and easy. And with that, I'm going to stop talking just for a little bit. I'm going to actually turn it over to Azure to introduce herself, talk about her role at Tripleseat and also what Tripleseat does and how they help local businesses.
Hi, Jeffrey. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You sound great.
Excellent. Awesome. Just a little note to everybody. I apologize in advance if you hear any construction noise. I live in Brooklyn, New York City, and they are ripping up the sidewalk this morning. So apologize for any noise, but I've got my headset, my microphone on, and I hope we'll be okay with that today. But nice to meet everybody, and hello to all the Tripleseat customers out there who are on today's webinar, as well as the GoDaddy customers. I'm Azure Collier. I'm the Content Marketing Director at Tripleseat. And what I do for Tripleseat is really all things content. I run and edit the blog. I run most of our social media. I edit a magazine that we're currently working on, and edit all kinds of things, emails, website content, every possible thing you can think of. I've been at Tripleseat since 2017. And Tripleseat is an event management, catering, and sales software company. We work with restaurants, venues, and hotels. So all of our tools are designed to help you seamlessly gather leads for your events and run the entire event. And we also have CRM tools for you, as well as lots of great reporting. And we just released a new feature this month called Direct Book that allows you to have a kind of a lead form set up on your website, where not only can customers select event dates and book those dates in the open areas of your calendar, but also uh, put requests in there for catering, any kind of like event boxes that you send out, the kind of like boxed meals or things like that. That's really popular today. So we're really excited to do all we can to help the hospitality industry, and I'm really happy to be here today. So let's go ahead and get started with the first section of our webinar, how to get found where diners are looking. In this climate, Google is your friend now more than ever. People are turning to Google in their homes, on their phones, and on the go to find not only restaurants, but restaurants that have specific characteristics that they're looking for. They want to know who's open. COVID and local regulations have made it difficult for customers to really keep up with what's going on. The rules change all the time. They might not know unless they search and try to find out who's open for dining, who's open for outdoor dining. They want to also know who's open now. You know, if they're hungry right now, they want to find out what are the days and times of business that you are open, so they know if they can come over. They want to see which ones are close by. They also are looking for who's delivering or has takeout. And like I said a minute ago, where can they dine in, but where can they also have outdoor seating available? So because of this, it's really important to update your business on Google My Business. That's because your profile produces the search results that people see. So if you haven't done this or you've forgotten how to access it, go to google.com/business, and you want to make sure that your service options are current there. Make sure you've got the right address, phone number, Facebook page, and website, and check all of the terms that describe your service options, what you're popular for, your accessibility, your offerings, and your dining options. And make sure you've got your menu there in multiple formats. I'm going to tell you right now, as a customer who looks at their phone a lot to find restaurants, I hate PDF menus. My eyesight's terrible to begin with, and then you get the phone involved, and then you get zooming and pinching in on these PDF menus. It's really difficult to see, and it's really time consuming. And I wanted to take a look at the screenshots that I've got here. So you can see I've got some restaurants here near where I am in Brooklyn. I just did a quick search to see what comes up when I'm taking a look. Google has a great, pre-entered some buttons there that will show, am I looking for restaurants? Am I looking for coffee? Am I looking for boutiques? Whatever it is. So restaurants, click on that. You see the results in the map. They have ones that come up automatically. You'll see that this Mexican restaurant that came up, it's got whether they have dine-in, takeout, or delivery right at the top. So those are the three things people are looking for right now from restaurants. And then you can see in the middle, we clicked on their preview to show a little more information. And then on the right, we've got the about section that's got all those service options that people are looking for. And then you see those other categories at the bottom to give people even more information. So the more information, the better. And it's important that you're using the right keywords on Google My Business and really any marketing that you're doing right now. I just found out about this tool last week. Some of you might know about it already, but the Google Trends tool is amazing. And you can find this at trends.google.com and type in different keywords. You can use it to find the keywords that people are searching for in your area. We've got the word restaurant up here. You can do through time, different time periods, how popular is this restaurant term, or how popular is this keyword? And then you can take a look at the states that are looking at it, related topics, related queries. So all of this research is going to help you come up with the keywords you want to use and related keywords that are going to help you get found by people who are searching. And then once you've got a list of these keywords, make sure that you're using them on your Google My Business page, in social media, in email marketing, and all over your website when they're relevant. Let's talk a little bit more about getting found, and let's look at social media. Now, I've been doing marketing for a long time, and I've been doing social media marketing since the early 2000s. And a few years ago, people were still insisting that businesses should treat their Facebook and Instagram posts like precious objects. Post them once a day, just a few times a week. Don't bother people. Don't overwhelm or annoy your customers. Well, that logic has gone out the window with COVID. Customers are looking for information, and they're looking for it right now. And if your restaurant or bar publishes current information and content about the things that customers want to hear about, the people in your feed are not going to care how often you post, because your posts are valuable to them. Another reason to think about posting more often, you're facing a lot of competition in the feed with news, current events, posts from friends and family, and posts from other businesses that people follow. So make sure you are visible and you are relevant. And speaking of relevant, if you use Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn, and sometimes on Facebook, use the right hashtags to be part of the current conversations happening online and to get found by people looking for certain hashtags. I've got a couple tools here that you could use to take a look at hashtags. Start with those keywords you looked at earlier for Google. Some of those might translate directly over to popular things on social media, but you can use brandmentions.com/hashtag tracker. That's a free tool. You can take a look at, what are the popular hashtags right now, and what social media platforms are they being found on. And then hashtagpicker.com. That's another tool that you can use to research the popular hashtags on social media. It shows you what's trending right now. So what's going on today, what are the popular hashtags. If there's a relevant popular hashtag, you can find it and start using it. So you can find those things, like those crazy holidays people have made up just to eat a lot of food, like National Donut Day. You can see which popular food holidays are today, and if you offer that menu item, that's just a perfect excuse to talk about it and use that hashtag to be seen in that discussion. But just a little note for that, for hashtag picker and the trending hashtags, make sure you're not newsjacking. Don't take something in the news that does not relate to your business and use it in a hashtag. You will get a lot of flack for that from people who follow you. And don't use a popular trend unless you look it up first. Just, try to be in the know. I think it's really important that if you want to use one of these popular hashtags you're seeing all over the place, do a little research first in case there's some subject matter that might not look good if your brand was associated with it. So it just takes you a few seconds to check out why something's popular and what it means. Another way that you can get found is to pin important updates to the top of your profile. So on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, when you create a post, just click those three dots. There's an option to pin it to the top of your profile. Posts like this that you want to repin, announcements about reopening or closing or changes in the schedule, changing service offerings, or even things like if you've got a new menu or maybe a holiday promotion going on, what's important right now that your customers should know about it. Pin those posts to the top of Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn so they are the first, most important posts that customers see when they visit your profile. And Facebook also allows businesses to mark their posts on Facebook with a COVID-19 update. So that's another thing you can find by clicking those dots. And the great thing about those COVID-19 updates is that people who follow your page, they get a notification from Facebook that a business they follow has put up a COVID-19 related post. So even better for you to get found, get more exposure. Now let's talk about making it simple and easy. And there's two parts to this section. The first part is about making it simple and easy for your customers to do something. If you want people to spend money with you, do not make this process complicated. People will give up. We're all living with short attention spans, constant anxiety and frustration right now. If something's not easy to do, people are going to quit and move on to something else. So when you're marketing your customers on email and social media, do not assume anything. Tell them what to do and provide them with a way to do it now. Do not be this business on the right. This is a restaurant that I'm not going to name. They just made a small error here. I don't know if you could read the text, might be a little small, but this is a post announcing some cooking classes coming up. And that's all they said. Hey, we've got cooking classes. On the bottom, you see the first comment comes from a customer asking, well, where's the link to register for cooking classes? Fortunately, the business responded under there, but they really should have added that link. You can edit a post and added it to the post itself. But make sure you are including the link directly to where people want to go. They're not going, don't assume that they are just going to go to your Facebook profile and click on your web page or go to your web page. Make it easy for them, just put it right there. And you can see this post from Etch in Nashville. They're talking about, treat yourself to a night out this weekend. They've got a picture of one of their entrees, grab a reservation here, and they've got the link for the reservation. So make sure you've got that. Tell them what you want them to do, and then give them the tools to do it. And on the right, we've got an email from the Betsy Hotel in Miami. They've got some restaurants there. They've got, at the Betsy, they have canine ambassadors, and they are combining their canine ambassadors with some new menu items at the restaurant. So they're telling people about this event, and they've got right here, really easy to do, RSVP now. The button tells them what to do, takes them directly to the link to do it. So it sounds like common sense, but make sure that you are including a link and the information people need to make the decision of spending money with you in every social post and email. And if there's too much information, just put it all on one web page and just tell people more information, and to make the reservation, to book the event, to buy something, just put it all there. Customers are stressed and they just want to get things done. They're not going to take the time to look all over your website and try to find where you put something. Your job is to put the fewest amount of obstacles in people's way and give them the easiest path to spend money with you. Now it's time for part 2 of making it simple and easy. We want to create offers that make your customers' lives easier. And that's what they're looking for right now. That's what we're all looking for right now. We've been cooped up at home all day. Some people are working at home all day, plus homeschooling their kids, or they're going to their jobs and coming back and not, working nonstop. There are a lot of days in the week that people just don't want to cook dinner, or they just want a few drinks after, and you can do that for them. You can be the go-to source that helps them out and provides them with food and fun. So some examples that you can do here: happy hour to go. You can see the screenshot from Whiskey Cake Las Colinas. They've got a happy hour. Order the happy hour, stop there, pick it up, take it home. You didn't have to do anything but pick it up and bring it home and have your own happy hour. The holidays are coming up. There's going to be some people who are like, I can't even deal. I don't want to go in the kitchen. I don't want to make all this stuff. And I don't want to do all those dishes, especially me, because apartments with dishwashers are very hard to find in New York. So you see on the right, Leon's Full Service. They've got a Thanksgiving feast. They list the items on the menu. Let's do it. I do not want to cook. I would rather have Leon's Full Service make my Thanksgiving feast and pick it up and heat it up. They are making it easy for the customer. And you can also do things that are, regular occurrences during the week, family dinners, so that customers can just pick that up and bring it home. You can also do things like family dinners, dinner for mom and dad, and then a different kind of dinner for the kids. I know a lot of friends who are parents who have to cook separate meals, and everybody knows someone or does it themselves. So do something like that to make your customers' lives easier. Give them a couple of options for dinner so they don't have to do anything.
Azure, thank you so much. And I was just thinking about that when you were talking about how some parents have to, make their kids separate meals from everybody else. I was that kid.
My
But
sister has to do that. Her daughter, wants something different. She's picky. Her husband wants something different. He eats meat and she's a vegetarian. So I don't know how she does it, but she's cooking basically 3 different meals.
yeah, like I think it wasn't necessarily like a Christmas or Thanksgiving thing. Actually, it was a Christmas and Easter thing because we always had ham. And I was never, sorry if anyone is a huge ham person, I am not. And every year my mom would be like, I have to fix something else for Jeffrey. And so like until I got older, like I would just have like chicken or something, but until then it was like chicken nuggets. But yeah, I was that kid, and I was such a little picky eater, but now I've like come to love different types of food from different places. And I think that like started, I want to say like in high school, and nobody else judged me about this as well, since we're on this. And I'm gonna jump into this, is I did not eat chicken on a bone, I think until like a couple of years ago. I had like a bad experience or something when I was a kid, and like my roommate, like we were eating chicken wings, and I was like, I usually just eat the boneless, and she was like, that's just a chicken nugget. And so she's the one that got me into chicken wings. But anyways, that's here nor there. We're here to talk about how to make sure you can have, attracting those customers and improving that revenue for 2021. One of the biggest things and one of the biggest questions I feel like I get from business owners, and correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, is how do you save time on social media? How do you do it? How do you make sure that you're communicating with your customers, but more importantly, making sure that you're saving time, because none of y'all started your business to be on social media. So as a business owner, at least in my mind, I feel like having these social media saving tips, if you will, is going to really be helpful, because it's going to ultimately help you increase engagement. And it's going to help train you to increase your engagement. But also, I feel like it's going to help really boost your social media profiles as well. So I think one thing when you're thinking about how can I save time, and I think this was the most common one that came up, at least for me, and when talking to some colleagues at GoDaddy, and especially our account managers, is we always tell our customers to plan ahead, plan, plan, plan. How many of us actually use a calendar? Let us know in the chat box. I think you can raise your hand if you want to. But you definitely want to make sure you're planning ahead, because when you think about it, the holidays, I mean, they're already here. I mean, Halloween was just what, like last week, I think, or the week before. So, but the biggest thing with the holidays, and especially with COVID, is, how are we going to interact? And and I think one thing that's going to be really prevalent, especially for restaurants, is especially now when people are usually just, they're shopping, they're dipping in and out of restaurants, they're picking up cookies, or they're picking up your fresh baked pies, or your meals. Like Azure was saying, like you want to make sure that you're coping with this, and more importantly, you're pivoting as well. So get those kits ready to go. I've taken um not pleasure, but I know I've like dipped my hands into, the to go happy hours, to go cocktails as well. And those are always fun. At first I was just making a mess, so I stopped and I bought my own supplies. But but you definitely want to make sure, you're dipping into that, you're pivoting, but more importantly, you're planning ahead, because if you can't have, a huge lineup, at your physical location, then this is when you need to dive headfirst into your online marketing strategy, and especially right now. So some things that you can do to make sure you're planning ahead, but more importantly, getting ahead, is determine your promotional offers. Are you going to have offers for Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve, Christmas? Look at that calendar. Do you have a calendar ready? Use video. Love looking at video. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit, but also make sure that you're going to use creative, effective visuals to support your marketing campaign, which Azure is going to get into just a little bit. But one thing that you can do is plan ahead on Instagram. And that's what we were just talking about. Gone are the days where we're like, oh, post, 2 to 3 times a week. And now it's more of, you have to be posting consistently. And so one thing that you can do is to get ahead, is you can actually plan ahead on Instagram. So this is going to sound insane to some, but some are probably like, this is very true. Try to at least post on Instagram at least one post per day, if not every other day. And, on Instagram, you just don't want to post for the sake of posting. You're going to hear us say this, but you really want to make sure you're only uploading photos to your feed that are going to be high quality content. So you can also utilize Instagram stories, which we're going to get into in just a little bit, for anything you want to share with your audience. But when you think about posting, like in this example with East Austin Hotel, You want to treat your Instagram feed, which where this post is, you want to treat that as sacred space for your best stuff. So yes, you could put this in your stories, you could put this in your highlights, but this is also something that you want to make sure that you're posting in your feed as well. Our inside dining room at 6th and Waller is now open at limited capacity. We'll be keeping the patio open too, so come in, join us for lunch, dinner, weekend brunch, and of course, half off bottles of wine for the Bachelorette. Just starting watching that. Claire is wild. I'm glad she's gone. But yes, you definitely want to make sure you're planning ahead on this platform. So one thing I love about Facebook is my mom's on Facebook. I hope she's not listening to this webinar. But I did help her get all set up on Facebook and she loves it. She keeps up with me and she like goes back to college, like pictures. And she's like, Jeffrey, like, what were you thinking? And I'm like, don't go there. But anyways, but when you think about Facebook, um, Facebook, you can post, multiple times a day if your audience will allow it. And I was doing some research, and HubSpot, if you're familiar with them, found that pages that have under 10,000 fans experience a 50% drop in engagement per post if they posted more than one per day. So you definitely want to make sure that if you're posting more than once, your audience is actually getting engaged with your content. You're not just posting for the sake of posting. Now, at a minimum, you should definitely be posting to your Facebook pages at least 3 times per week, but you should definitely be celebrating on Facebook. You should also make it timely, but also read your audience as well. So I love this example from Home Slice Pizza. Happy National Calzone Day. We may be the queen of pies, but sometimes stuffed with ricotta cheese and mozzarella, served with a side of marinara sauce. Grab a calzone to go by ordering online at Home Slice or by giving us a call. So still letting their audiences know, but still celebrating, those unofficial holidays where you can eat and drink all that you want and buy all the extra Halloween candy that you probably want as well. Now, for all you beer lovers, wine drinkers, different spirits, I love this example from Terrapin Beer Company. They said it's stout season, y'all. And I have a hat that actually says y'all on it, one of my favorite hats, but they did a hashtag National Stout Day. So don't forget when you're planning these things out, look at your unofficial calendar of what are some favorite unofficial holidays to celebrate, like National Calzone Day or National Stout Day. Really make sure you're looking at that. Now with Twitter, you want to switch things up a little bit with this, and I love Twitter for that. So with Twitter, you want to tweet 1 to 2 times per day. Yes, I'm not gonna lie, I said that. That's 1 to 2 times per day. Now, it's really, really important to actually tweet more than once a day because at the rate that Twitter moves, and I hope some of you have seen it, it moves so fast that your followers might have actually missed your content. So if we're looking at this example right here with Ramen Tatsiayu, I love this example of what they're doing right here. Sake and cheese go together. Well, you'll find out soon in our virtual sake tasting. So remember, if you're still wanting to connect with your audience online, this is a great way of doing that, but also a great way of showcasing this and really using Twitter for what it's worth. But I love this example right here. They're also pairing up with another local business, another favorite of mine, Antonelli's. And they're talking about our sake sommeliers are chatting about sake and cheese pairings, joined by our homies at Antonelli Cheese and Jato Sake. So kits and info here. So this is just a really cool thing that you can make sure you're promoting, or importantly, of how you're switching things up and posting multiple times per day. So as you can see, this is their second post on November 2nd. They said, take this as a sign to order some ramen for dinner tonight. Head to tatsuya.com to place your pickup order. Photographed by Diary of a Hungry Girl. So lean into that user-generated content. If you're looking to attract those customers, whether they're dining into your business or they're at home and they're doing a virtual sake tasting, make sure that you're getting both sides of your customer base. More importantly, making sure that you're kind of planning these things out. With Ramen Tatsuya, they probably planned this out a while back to figure out how they can incorporate the sake and the cheese, but also with user-generated content that's constantly coming in for your local business. If you're posting at the right time, more importantly, you're getting engaged with your customers as well. Now, another great way that you can also save time, you're probably thinking, but social media, yes, but sometimes you've just got to schedule it out. And I'm sorry, I do this a lot. If I'm strapped for time, which I feel like I normally am, is I want to schedule things out. So use apps like Sprout Social, Hootsuite, CoSchedule, Feedly, and let us know if you're using scheduling apps in a chat box as well, because this is just a great time-saving tip. It's just using things like TweetDeck, Hootsuite. These are really important apps that you can use, and these kinds of apps, y'all, it's just going to make it easy for you to schedule content when you have the time, and when you don't have time, this is going to be your lifesaver right here. Now on Facebook, what I love about Facebook and some of your social media platforms is that you can actually utilize the scheduling function, within the posts themselves. So just like in this example right here, where you see schedule, backdate, save draft, instead of hitting share now, you can hit the drop down and choose schedule post. So scheduling posts for the week, that's just going to give you, at least it gives me a little bit of peace of mind. I don't know about y'all, but you can be sure that you're all set for the week and giving your followers the content they're actually going to love. Now, I actually love this. Kelly actually used this in one of her webinars, and I love this so much because it gives such a great breakdown of what you're getting for your social media holidays. And what I mean by that is literally those holidays that you can celebrate, but like Azure said, you have to make sure that it's going to work for your business. Book Lovers Day. If you're a restaurant, unless you have like a book drop off maybe near your business, or you're donating books to a charity or something like that, it has to make sense. Make it make sense. So look at these holidays, take a screenshot, look at it later in the recording, but definitely make sure that you're making these holidays work for your business. And I know one that will work for most of everyone, I feel like everyone, is Small Business Saturday. One of my favorite holidays to celebrate is celebrating all of you, all of your hard work. But more importantly, we should be celebrating this every day, not just one Saturday out of the year. So definitely make sure you're looking at these official holidays, making sure you're adding them to your social media content calendar as well. Because remember, it's just going to save you time at the end of the day. And also write out copy for your upcoming post. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Austin before, ever visited Texas, but there's this place in Austin. It's called Mozart's Coffee, and they do this light show. And every year I'm always late. I'm not gonna lie, it's usually someone else's fault. Okay, it's my fault. But it's hard to find parking, and it's just a wild time. But this year they're doing something different to make sure that it's COVID safe. Now, when you think about this, Christmas isn't, for a couple of months, but they still wanted to make sure they're putting this out there. So make sure that you write out your copy, whether that's in Google Docs, you write it on Word or a notepad. Make sure that you write this out. And the thing is when you write these types of posts out, this way you won't be using the same caption over and over again. And while yes, you can use the same picture, you don't want to use that same caption. You want to gravitate and capture your audience in different ways with different types of posts. So definitely make sure that you're planning all this out. Now, I really hope y'all use, these time-saving social media tips, especially, to help you schedule out posts, to help you get ahead of the game with posting, because your content should be just that, as content. It's there for your audience to get engaged, and it should be fun. And it's just going to help you stay on top of it. But with that, I'm going to actually pass it over to Azure to talk about how to tell your story with visual content.
Yeah, thank you, Jeffrey. So we've got a couple of screenshots already we've showed you that have visual content. I don't think you've seen any posts that we've shared today so far that didn't have some kind of image or video with it. And let's go into how to make those happen and how to get attention with them. So everybody is on the couch looking at their phones all day. You've got more competition in the feed and in the inbox, and you need to stand out visually with video, photos, and live streaming. And fortunately, your industry is full of amazing visual content. You make beautiful food, you mix gorgeous drinks, you have beautiful decor or art, or a patio or scenery outside, or snowfall in a couple months for those colder climates, rooftops, fireplaces. So you've got lots of cool things you can take photos of. Think about the interesting food and beverage photos and videos you can take and share. And you don't have to do these in the spur of the moment. If you see something interesting, capture it on your phone, save it for later. And then you've got this great stockpile of kind of your own stock image library for your particular restaurant or venue that you can share anytime, just to show people, hey, this is an interesting visual of what's going on here. Another way to get attention is to put text on top of your images. So you see the screenshot from City Winery. They got a picture of brunch, and then on top of it, their logo and brunch is back. This is such a great opportunity for you to get those eyes on your post, because people are going to see that giant text in your image before they see the text in your caption. Take a look at Chelsea Corner's photo on the right with that beautiful drink. Kind of doesn't need text because that is a gorgeous cocktail. But if you see the difference between these two screenshots, you're going to notice what the City Winery post is about right away. It's about brunch. Brunch is back. With Chelsea Corner, you got to read that caption a little bit. Again, pretty obvious it's about a cocktail, but you can just see the difference that text might make in an image that you share. If you want to do text over your images, there's some tools that you can use. Some of these are free, some of these are low cost. We've got Canva, they've got an app now, or you could create it on your desktop, send it to yourself on your phone, however you want to work that out. There's also Over, which I know GoDaddy has purchased, and that's a great tool to put that text or other things over your images. There's also Word Swag, which is kind of cool, that does some designs that look like quotes, those popular quotes that are passed around. And Adobe Spark has lots of options. If you don't want to download any of those tools, you could always use Instagram stories to edit a photo, put the text or stickers or something else on top, and then save that post. You could add it to your stories feed, but you could also, save that post, add it to your Instagram feed, add it anywhere else. You just did the editing to start with an Instagram stories, and then you create some content you can share just about any place you want. Now, photos are really important because they do capture the gorgeousness of all the things that are involved in hospitality, but don't overlook videos, especially live streaming videos. You can do that on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, LinkedIn has started to introduce it. I believe Twitter may have some live tools as well. The social networks are all in on live video, and they will notify their followers when a page that they follow is broadcasting live. Take advantage of this. I know someday the networks are going to say, you got to pay for that service for us to promote your live video. Right now, it's free. So just get in that live groove, start making those live videos. They don't have to be very long. It's okay if you're camera shy, put somebody else on camera, or maybe you're the voice behind the video as you're giving a tour or something. But get into that video game, make it a part of your marketing habit. Video catches people's eyes. It does make people stop in the feed. Make sure that you don't create a video that is too long. Something that's pre-recorded, 90 seconds or less, is great because of attention spans. But oddly, when it comes to live streaming, longer is better. The more you are on that screen doing a live stream, the more Facebook is putting it in the feed and notifying people. So, something like 5-10 minutes is great. If people super love you, you can absolutely do more if you want to be on camera that long. Marketing company Render Forest says that video helps businesses get 66% more qualified leads, and 85% of consumers say that video helps them to connect with brands more effectively. And 81% of people say video is the content they prefer most on social media. So video is the most popular, followed in second place by images at 68%. Either way, photos or video, video's best, but photos also amazing too. So use these to your advantage. I've got some ideas here on some visual content that you can introduce. Check out the screenshot on the right. It's a boomerang of one of the bartenders at Whiskey Cake San Antonio, and she's showing a drink that she made to the camera. Basically in this video, she's kind of like cheersing it to the camera, pulling it back, cheers, pull it back. So that visual, that movement gets people's attention, and it's an easy thing you can do with anything. Somebody holding a drink or food, or waving or cheersing. So some ideas here. We talked about food focused content. Think about the trends that are going on. Right now is pumpkin spice season. I guarantee if you use a food or beverage photo with the hashtag pumpkin spice, people are going to go mad crazy over it. Think about beverage trends. You've got all kinds of great flavors coming up for the holidays. You could also do a Throwback Thursday and make sure you use the hashtag TBT. You could also do, I think it's Flashback Friday is another one. But if you'd like to post something about, you're reminiscing about the past, maybe there's a large group at your restaurant or something you celebrated last year, make sure you put TBT, this was last year. We hope to have this big New Year's Eve party again, or whatever it is, to show people, some of your favorite events or food from the past. Go behind the scenes. I know that was a question from Adriana earlier in the chat, where she asked if it's a good idea to profile the people that work at the business. Absolutely. You've got regulars, or you've got people who come in that they recognize the face but not the name. They want to know the human beings behind their favorite place to go, or they want to know, what's going on. How is your chef so talented? How do they know how to make this or that, or pastries, or flambe something, whatever it is. Show off your bartenders. What kind of skills do they know? What kind of trends are they interested in? People, they want to know the expertise, and they go to you to begin with, they go to your restaurant because you guys are experts in food and beverage and you know what you're doing. So, share that expertise with people. You could go live, take a tour of your space. You're setting up for something, you're decorating for the holidays, you're done decorating for the holidays, you've got a new piece of art, you got a local person creating art on your wall, or you just installed something interesting. Go back in the kitchen, take a look at the chef, getting everything prepped for the evening, or making something special, or testing something out. People want to see what goes on behind the scenes. I mean, that's why we've got a whole network about food on cable. Interview your staff, ask them, their take on the trends or advice about food and beverage, and show how you create your gorgeous food and beverages with video. You can just go live, do a recording, or do something extra fancy. Most phones have a slow-mo or a time-lapse version of video, so you can show something ooey gooey being dripped, chocolate and slow-mo, or show the chef making this complicated thing with really fast video and putting all the pieces together. That'll definitely get people's attention.
No, you are right on getting people's attention, because it works every time for me.
I am obsessed with the dessert videos that I see on Facebook with people like making cakes really fast. I'm not going to do it, but it
Yes.
looks delicious.
I know. So like you're looking at them, and it's like one of those things that I feel like I always say, it's like they're painting that experience that it's just drawing you in so much that you either go buy it, or you go order it, or you go do it. And so that's definitely me. I don't know if y'all have seen those pans, like the Our Place pans. I guess because I like talk about a lot about cooking or whatever, and they popped up. And so the other day I just got one for one of my friends, her birthday, and she was like, "Oh my God, I know what this pan is." So it does work. If you paint that picture for that experience, more importantly, you make it authentic, like you said, going behind the scenes, or showing off your chef, or showing off your bartender, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit as well. But definitely make sure you're being as authentic as possible. The more personable you are, the more real you are. Um, the more you're going to stand out, the more that your customers are going to want to be coming back and forth to your page to see what's going on, to see what's new for your business. And I think that stands true, especially for this local business here in Austin, Antonelli's Cheese. I talked about them a little bit earlier, but when you think about your Instagram stories, we were just talking about this, is you can't treat them the same as your Instagram feed, or like your Facebook, or your Twitter. You definitely want to make sure, because when you think about your Instagram stories, is they disappear within 24 hours. And so like you have to make sure that content is going to be engaging enough to hold on for 24 hours, to get your customers to come back and forth, to interact with it, to grab some screenshots. And one way that your customers can know if you have an updated story is, I hope you all know this, is this little ombre ring right here around the logo in the top left hand corner of your Instagram page. Now, the reason why you don't want to treat your Instagram stories the same as your feed is because you can share less polished, behind the scenes, maybe, that real life content of what makes your business so compelling. So some different ways that you can go about your Instagram stories and make them not seem the same way as your content in your actual feed is be educational with your stories. Show off your products or your services, but do it in a socially selling way. Because there's a difference between straight up selling your products and your services, but definitely selling them in a way that's going to benefit not only your customers, but also benefit your community as well, and making it more about them. Talk about your company. If your company's been around for 20 years, reintroduce yourself in your Instagram stories. Like, hey, hello fans, customers, some of us who've been with us for a long time, some of us who haven't, something like that. Maybe do an explainer of why you started your business, or, if you're a winery, or if you're a farm to table restaurant, why you started that farm to table restaurant. One of my favorites is answering a lot of questions. I know as business owners, y'all get a ton of questions day in and day out. So this is just a great way to answer those questions, and have them, even house them in your Instagram highlights as well. And also customer testimonials and how-tos. So One thing that you can really do differently with Instagram, and not only just with Instagram stories, is actually Instagram TV. So it's funny that Ashley just said this, because that's one thing that I thought about when you're thinking about TV and you're thinking about food. Is I first think about the Food Network. And growing up, like my mom would always put on the Food Network, and there'd be, I think, Ina Garten and Rachel Ray's like 30-minute meals, or when she would get like, I think, like so much money in a day and go to different cities and have to live off of that. So I grew up watching the Food Network. My mom would always be in the kitchen, baking cakes and, really Southern soul food. That's probably not good for anyone, but it's just so amazing and so delicious, especially around this time of the year. But when you think about that, you think about sharing those kind of experiences and how you feel when you think about being at home. You as a local business can share that type of authenticity, in an Instagram series, just like here with Eat Puesto. So of course, like when COVID happened and lockdown, which some cities are still going through, whether you're open or you're not open or you're doing curbside pickup, I think this is a great thing that we all can pick up and actually start using for our local business. So I really love their series, and it's called Quarantining, the Martini episode. Or the bartender, the head bartender, actually talks about how you can make different drinks, drinks actually serve in their restaurant, and more importantly, they actually do a really cool one where they actually have a guest bartender come in as well. So that's where you can do a split screen, invite someone that's, down the street, and next door, maybe your sister restaurant, different things like that. Really make it engaging for your audience. Remember, I think the beauty of social media is making sure that it's as authentic as possible. More importantly, you're really sharing your personable side of your local business as well. Now, another great thing that you can use not only Instagram stories, but also your feed for is for menu updates and new items. As we're approaching into the holiday season, some of you might have menus where you can buy a whole turkey or a whole ham or a whole meal for the whole family. And like we were talking about earlier, people might not want to do all the cooking because they've probably been cooking throughout this entire year. So they might want to take a break from that cooking. That's where you as a restaurant, you as a local business, hotel, bar, that's where you come in. So I love this example right here from Bangers. They're here in Austin. They're really using IGTV. They're really using this Instagram post to create buzz around menu updates and new items. So definitely make sure that you're releasing a new video or you're working with video in some shape, form, or fashion, even if that's live video. Don't be afraid to go live. It's not that hard. It does take some getting used to, but make it you. If your kids are running in the background, if somebody honks, you have to honk at them. You're filming in your car. Feel free to do so. Just make it as you as possible and do it where you feel most comfortable. That's also going to be somewhat semi-professional for your customers to view as well. But definitely make sure that you're incorporating you into these videos, into your social media content. So another great thing that you can do is also leverage these when you're thinking about your promotions. And I hinted at this a little bit earlier. I'm going to take you through these 3 different examples. But right here is Old Thousand. I'm sure some of you have vegan, veggie, straight up just meat options in your restaurant. But maybe some customers don't know that, especially your future customers or even customers who've been coming there for a minute. So definitely make sure that you let your audience know what's going on. And some people might think, oh, this is you promoting something. No, this is you letting your audience know. This is called social customer care. So we've got options for you: brisket, veggie, and I've had their veggie rice and it's really good. And also their brisket. This is in Texas. I mean, any way that Texans can feel like they can incorporate brisket or barbecue into something, they're going to probably do it. And this is actually really good as well. And I love this with Jester King. Like we were just talking about, holidays are approaching. You might want to let people know what your holiday hours are going to be. So I love this. They did an aerial shot. And then right here in Gypsy's Kitchen, using that user-generated content, really leaning into this. Instagram stories are a fun way to engage with your customers, but if you use them in the right way, you can constantly remind your current customers and clients how amazing your products, your services, your atmosphere is, and obtain new ones as well. So Instagram highlights. How many of us have used Instagram highlights? You can raise your hand, let us know in the chat box if you have. I hope you are. If not, after this, you're going to be using them. But the highlights feature, it just allows you to take what you put in your stories and actually put it into your highlights, like right here. So as you can see, Salt Lake has like familiar faces, the pit, who knew, wallpapers, pecan pie. But you want to make sure that you're using these because your highlights, they live at the top of your page. So they're going to be one of those most important parts of your profile, right next to your phone number, your address, your logo, your call to action, like your link. These highlights are going to help promote your business. More importantly, help you stay engaged with your current audience. How many of you feel like you might have missed out on a sale or, a type of business, or maybe if you're a restaurant, maybe some catering options, if you haven't had this on your menu or your website or on your social media sites? This is just an extension of your business. So if you offer catering, you can have a highlight that has all your information about your catering. Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming up. I love pecan pie. So, if you have pecan pies that you make to order or you sell them at your restaurant, slice or whole, put that in there as well. People want to know the information about your local business, but they want to make sure that they can find it easily as well. Remember, we're making it easy. And next, I'm going to pass it over to Azure. She's going to dive into how to broaden your offerings and marketing campaigns.
All right. I think one of the bright spots to come out of this year is all the amazing creativity I've seen from the hospitality industry. I mean, you guys know how to take something that is crisis or situation and turn it around and make it happen no matter what. So we've seen the best in the industry this year, seriously, a ton of creativity. And take a look at these two examples from Puckett's Fifth and Church in Nashville on the left. Lots of you guys are doing this, but if you haven't, consider introducing some kind of tasting class. You don't have to have the expert in-house. You could be affiliated with another business. They've got somebody coming from Whiskey University. Wow, I would love a diploma that says Whiskey University on my wall. But they're partnering with somebody else and bringing them in. So you've got in-house talent, you've got sommeliers, you've got amazing chefs, you've got people who know how to organize events or weddings, have them in the spotlight, teach a course. It could be just one-off, or you could do, multiple. You can have Whiskey 101, Whiskey 102, whatever it is that your customers are interested in. And take a look at this post on the right from 165 in San Francisco. They pinned this to the top of their page. It's still up there, but they introduced a graduation pack for the class of 2020. So they've got a bunch of different desserts involved in this graduation pack. So think about the kinds of things that people might celebrate, and you can create some food or beverages or both and promote it as some kind of a party package, event package. Capitalize on the trends that we're seeing in the industry with takeout, delivery, and virtual events. You don't have to do, all of them, but just start with something that you think might work best for the resources you already have and what your customers love about you. And once you start introducing these, promote it like crazy. Have multiple posts. Remember, you don't have to be precious with your posts anymore. Make sure you are constantly talking about these classes that you've got coming up. One of the interesting things about Facebook is you can create an events calendar. So you can have, and that's what this Puckett's example is. This post links to an event for this particular class, and they've got all of the links and all the information in there. If you see on the bottom right, the interested button. So if one of the followers wants to do it, they can click interested, and then that might appear in the feed of their friends. It says, hey, your friends is interested. Your friends is interested in this class. The cool thing about this class too is it's virtual. So you don't even have to just appeal to the local people. You can appeal to, people outside of the area, and they can all join you online. And I talked about, tapping into your internal talent. You've got bartenders, sommeliers, beer experts, pastry chefs, party planners. Put something together that uses the best of what you do and allows these people to teach their skills virtually. And when things do get back to normal, you could take this in the inside of your restaurant. You could start to have these, people were doing it before, chef's tables and wine tastings and things like that. So this can continue virtually or in person, depending on the safety protocols. We said this earlier, but think about what you can do to make people's lives either easier or more enjoyable. If they don't want to leave the house, but they still want to have an experience, you can bring them that experience with food and beverage and knowledge. Here's a list of some ideas that I've seen. Things like tasting boxes, and these could be anything. It could be wine and chocolate, charcuterie and hard cider. It could be champagne and caviar if you want to go to the fancy route. think about parties in the box. It could be holiday themed or birthdays, graduations. It could be tiki night. It could be happy hour. New Year's Eve would be an amazing party in the box. You could throw in those noisemakers and some glitter and some champagne and, you know, a small bottle of champagne, fancy appetizers, something like that. You could also do virtual events, trivia night, or teach those virtual classes. Think about supporting corporate events. And if you think about the corporate events, remember, they budgeted 2020 to, they didn't, you know, we didn't know COVID was happening. So when people had their 2020 budget created, they had money aside for in-person events, and they haven't been doing those. So they have money to spend. Think about appealing to your corporate clients and letting them know that you could deliver things like you could do catering for meetings or office party themes, or lunches. I mean, one of the best parts about going into an office is there's some free food around, and people don't have that anymore. So think about some different ways you could put food or beverage together that could be delivered to local employees, so everybody has an experience online together virtually, but they're all having the same food. Consider some outdoor entertainment. I know the weather's changing. There's some places where it's going to get a lot colder, but for those of you who have warm weather right now, or your weather's pretty mild for the winter, think about looking at something like movie nights. On the right, you've got Jasper's Uptown in Texas. They do a backyard cinema night. That's great. It's outside, socially distant, and then they can order food and drinks from the restaurant. This is perfect. You could also transform your space. I've seen tons of people do things like igloos, or you know, tents, or space heaters, fire pits, something like that. And then you can have, you know, outdoor performances, live music, something like that. It's a great way to utilize that outdoor space as the weather gets a little more chilly. Look at things like gift cards for the holidays. Those are always big. And gift cards, you can promote those during the shopping holidays. Sell gift cards during Small Business Saturday, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It works for all of them. I talked about family dinners earlier. Those are especially great during the holidays. If there's some kind of different specials you can create, some catering you can create for different amounts of people. People might be scaling down things this year, but might not want to cook, or they might have more people privately at their house. So think of some different ways you can accommodate those different sized groups. With the holidays, you know, we talked about it a couple times. Can you sell the dinners, or can you sell things like pies separately, or just the sides? Myself, I'm spending Thanksgiving for one this year, and I don't want to make a turkey, but I want to buy it from somewhere else and heat it. And then I want to make everything at home. So, you know, think about some different options people might want for holidays. One of the coolest things I've seen is a high tea kit that one of the restaurants that's a customer of ours in California made. So you could be Queen Elizabeth at home if you want. You can order the high tea kit, get the scones and the finger sandwiches and the tea and the little pastries, and have your own little high tea happy hour. And then we talked about happy hour before too. Happy hours are really, really fun, and you know, you can only make the cocktails that certain way. So offer some things to go, and then people can bring it home and have their own happy hour at home. Now I'll pass it over to Jeffrey.
Thank you. And yes, I know that I'm going to be partaking in some of those as well, as far as like the different holidays and like birthdays and types of little boxes that I feel like companies are going to be doing, restaurants and different things like that. So I know I will be partaking in that in a way that you can really make sure that you're also attracting those customers, but, you know, still bringing in revenue for your local business, you know, during this time, especially this holiday season, is working with micro influencers, you know, to really benefit your local business. So one thing you have to think about is you have to think about your influencers. But some of you might think, oh, wow, influencer, money. Yes, that does happen, but sometimes you don't have to pay them. You could do a trade-off for goods like food. If you are a hotel, you could have them stay a night and they could write a great glowing review about your business. You just really have to make sure that you're working with the right type of influencer. More importantly, the right type of brand advocate as well. So one thing that you really want to think about is you got to follow them on social media. You got to also engage with their posts, even if it's just a like. Share their content on your social media sites. but also get familiar with their style and interests and followers. So as you can see, Marquee ATX posted about Paperboy Austin, and then Paperboy actually liked it. So it's one thing for, a business to go in and, he did this on his own merit, but, then to do this and for the business to actually like it. So definitely make sure that you're liking the post. Now, one thing, and the biggest question I get is, how do I know who to work with? Now, if that's a person that maybe that's like me that has 1,400 followers, or maybe that's a person that has 16,000 followers, it really just depends on what type of engagement they have. Somebody could have 900 followers and get the most engagement on their post because what they post is great content. So you have to think about it that way. Are you posting great content? Are the people that you want to get engaged with your business, are they posting great content? So examples like these, like ATX Food Guy, Sitting in the Middle, Spirit and Spoon are just great influencers to work with, just because it's going to help you make sure that you're diversing your audience. More importantly, you're helping somebody else get content in front of them as well. So this is just a great way to make sure you're partnering with influencers that are going to be right for your business. And more importantly, to also show off some variety and diversify that audience as well. Because think about it, your audience is in the palm of your hand. You're just making sure that you have a bigger community when you're engaging with your audience. And one way that you can make sure you have a bigger audience, and Azure talked about this a little bit earlier, is your hashtags. Really make sure you're leaning into those hashtags, but more importantly, make sure your audience knows where they are. And I love what Condor Chocolates does. And you would think, oh, they just make their hashtag Condor Chocolates, something very branded. But I love how they chose their branded hashtag, and that is Chocolate Tells a Story. And that is inviting their customers to tell their story of chocolate, whether that's their kid's first bite of chocolate, maybe it's a Valentine's Day gift, a wedding anniversary, a graduation gift, or maybe just because I love you gift or a get better. But allow chocolate to tell your story. And this is just a great way for them to also nudge their consumers, their favorite users, to also use a hashtag, and a hashtag that's going to be able to help tell their business's story and their customer story as well. So really make sure your audience members know where that hashtag is in order for you to create that great customer content. More importantly, for you to really focus on looking at user-generated content as well. Now, as you can see, and we've said this before, you're painting that experience online with your social media content, especially visual content, whether that's content in your feed that's static like this, or that's video content of you, answering some questions or taking people through your restaurant or your hotel. So I love these examples of user-generated content. And as you can see in each post, you'll notice a camera. That's the business noting who the actual person was that, they got the content from. So I love this because it makes your consumers feel a part of your brand. And that's ultimately what you want. That's how you're going to paint and get your bigger community. That's how you're going to really foster that engagement and get more engagement from your audience, because it doesn't matter if you have 10 likes or 3,000 likes. What really matters is the engagement that you start to get below that caption. That's where the real activity starts to happen. That's where that real conversation starts to happen, just like it would if people came up to you in your business. And now another way that you can make sure, and our final way to make sure that you're getting the most out of your 2021 marketing strategy, is prove and improve your metrics and your ROI. So you really have to look at what metrics matter the most. And I told you we weren't going to be getting into any math. That is very true. We're not, but somewhat just a little bit. I'm sorry. But one thing that you really want to know is your metrics, they matter a lot, because I could tell you till I'm blue in the face that, yes, restaurants should post at 2 p.m., in their time zone to make sure they're going to get the most out of their happy hour. That doesn't work for everyone. That could work for maybe a couple of people, but every business is different. You're all different. You all started your business for different reasons. So of course you're going to have a different audience. So some metrics that you want to make sure that you're focusing on are brand awareness, customer satisfaction, gaining new customers, and brand loyalty. So you're thinking about, how can I figure out if I got brand awareness? If you're reaching and getting those new followers, that's how you're going to know that you're creating more brand awareness through your post, through making sure that you're creating that high quality, engaging content for your local business. And customer satisfaction is when you're responding to those reviews and engaging back with those mentions. So that's how you know that your customers are satisfied. Make sure you respond to all of your reviews, no matter what, the good, the neutral, the ugly. Really make sure you're responding to them. And also gaining those new customers. if you have Yelp or Google, you can actually look and see if people looked up your business to call you from Google or Yelp, if they looked at driving directions to your business from these platforms. And that's going to really give you a good indication of what kind of customers you're gaining, but also what platforms they're using to actually find you and come to you as well. And last but not least, brand loyalty. So this is where the math comes in, and I'm sorry. So brand loyalty is all about looking at your engagement rate. You don't want to look at your vanity metrics like your likes and those things like that. You're really looking at your comments and your shares, and more importantly, the amount of engagement you're getting. So you're going to look at the number of likes. So get the number of likes. Let's say it's 400 likes divided by, let's say you have 6,000 followers times that one by 100. You're going to have your engagement rate. So it's the number of likes divided by the number of followers times 100. And that's how you're going to figure out your brand loyalty, because at the end of the day, your engagement, that matters so much to your local business. That's how you're seeing if people are actually getting engaged with your content. More importantly, if it's working specifically for your business. Now, before we wrap up, a couple of things. You got to look at your insights. How many of us look at our insights for our social media sites? You can raise your hand, you can let us know in that chat box. But like I was saying earlier, we could tell you till we're blue in the face that this is going to work specifically for your restaurant, your hotel, your bar, when you post at this time and you use this type of caption. If anyone tells you that, please run far, far away. Please. And I'm sure you all know this, but you have to look at your insights to figure out what's going to work specifically, not only for your business, but also your brand. And when I say your brand, I mean your consumers, the people that come to your business. That works for your business. What's going to help you get that optimal engagement rate? And that may be like late at night, that may be early in the morning, but really look at your insights on Facebook and Instagram and kind of figure out what's going to work for you best and what's going to serve your community the best. And you got to understand your audience on Instagram. So this is actually my Instagram page. I feel like, I don't know if my followers have gone up. It might have gone down. Who knows? That's here nor there. But one thing you have to know is actually how to find your insights here. So if you go up to the top right-hand corner, you look at those 3 bars, you look at your insights, and then you're able to see exactly like who's following you, who's not, the content, your activity, but more importantly, your audience. And I love this because I get the question is, how do I know who to promote to? How do I know how to do this or how to talk to them? You know it right here because it's right here. And this is your audience, and you can see how many people follow you, their age group, the gender, more importantly, right here under followers, where you can see where they're getting engaged with you the most, not only by days, but break it down into hours on those days as well. So really making sure that you're not just looking at your social media sites just because they're there, but really trying to understand them and really making sure that they're working for you and not against you. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're taking the time to plan out your business's online marketing strategy, especially gearing up for this new year for 2021. So you're going to be monitoring, you're going to be measuring your performance. And the best way to do that is to look at that ROI, but more importantly, to make sure that you're across all your sites. Your information is right. People can find you. You're looking at your campaigns, you're trying to figure out different ways to broaden them. And more importantly, you're taking a look at your metrics and your insights, and you're seeing what specifically works for your local business, your customers, and what's going to ultimately help you save that time at the end of the day. That's going to help you attract those customers and really increase those revenue by understanding all of this. So I know that was a lot we covered. I know we went a little bit over today. Just really want to say thank you to all who attended, that stuck with us, for this hour and some change. Thank you all. I also want to say a huge, huge thank you to my amazing co-host, Azure. She has been a pleasure to work with. I hope you all give her a round of applause. A huge thank you to her. Also, a huge thank you to my colleague, Kelly Deball, for being in that chat box, throwing out those links to those blogs. And again, a huge thank you to all of you that have been in this webinar today. We couldn't have done it without you. Again, thank you so much for being here with us today. We hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday, have a great rest of your week. More importantly, use these tips and tricks that we've gone over, and also know that you're going to get this recording later on today. So with that, I want to say thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, great Tuesday. Stay healthy, stay safe. We will see you all next time, same place, different topic. Thanks, everyone.